The only shooting stick with one-handed trigger pull adjustments has a new way to keep you at the top of your game. The Trigger Stick Apex. Built for sturdy support that adapts to unforgiving terrain with easy adjustments to make your big shots. With our DuraSteady 3-piece carbon leg design and interchangeable rock-solid clamp, nothing tops the Apex. The Trigger Stick Apex, only from Primrose.
This episode is brought to you by Microsoft Azure. Turn your ideas into reality with an Azure free account. Get everything you need to develop apps across cloud and hybrid environments, scale workloads, create cloud-connected mobile experiences, and so much more. Discover what you can create with popular services free for 12 months. Learn more at azure.com. That's AZURE.com. And sign up for a free account to start building in the cloud today.
Back to the Outdoor Drive podcast. We are here in episode 258. I don't know. It's like crazy when you start to really think about it. But anyways, this is your boy East Coast Trev, and I'm always here and somewhere. I don't know. Maybe he's here. Maybe he's not. Madman, are you here?
Hey, babe.
Oh, hey, don't start that off the rip, dude. Come on now. It was, I'll tell you.
I am shocked you knew what episode number it is. I'm proud of you.
I was looking. That's what I actually
prepared tonight.
Well, that's what I was doing as I was looking, Steve.
257 episodes for you to come prepared on a Thursday night.
Come on. I wouldn't have made it this far if I wasn't prepared, don't you know?
Yeah, my back was getting heavy anyways.
Oh, I bet. You look like a camel.
Yeah. You know what they say, don't worry about the mule, you just load the wagon.
Whatever that means. I don't know what that means. So just keep on strumming, buddy. Oh,
that's right.
You know what's kind of crazy is it's by the time that this thing comes out, it's going to be the last day of September.
August.
August, yeah. Closer to the days of September is what I meant. And then it's only 15,
right.
you know?
I actually had to put in for a day off, not hunting related. And I wrote 9:30 instead of 8:30.
Correct.
And then it turned into a big shit show at work because they thought I wasn't off until 9:30. And I was like, no, I'm off tomorrow. I wrote the wrong number. Well, whatever. It worked. But yeah, you can see where my mind's at. My mind's thinking 9, not 8.
9:30. Right to that October fucking get up and go, dude. That's what I'm talking about. I'm so excited. Actually, it's kind of crazy as I got in this past weekend, and I'll do the same this weekend, but getting some cameras hung up. I had some in there, but they kind of moved them around, and I'll tell you what, we'll see what happens. They've been quiet ever since. I don't know if I know you've had that on one of your farms. You go in and you rustle up the dirt, and then the boys start coming, and then they disappear for a little bit. You rustle up the dirt, they start coming. So I'm thinking the night before. That's what I'm thinking. The night before opening day, I'm going to go in there, rustle a bunch of things around, and jump in a tree.
I've talked to Troy Pottinger about that before, and there's something to it, you know?
Right.
Where you sit a scrape, and then you freshen it up, like you going in the dark. You get in a tree, you do your hunt, you come down, you freshen up the scrape, and you leave, and then come to find out he came that afternoon or the next morning, and you weren't there.
You almost maybe walking in, go there and hit up the scrape and then get in a tree. But
it just
mentally,
now you're laying on that fresh ground scent. Mm-hmm. In theory, you should be able to shoot him before you hit your ground scent. But oh man, I just want to get up a tree and I don't want
to be messing around on the ground, dude.
After I saw it, clear as day last year, sat a tree over a scrape, got pissed off, got down 10 o'clock.
Yep.
Kick some dirt, literally. And next thing you know, that buck shows up the next morning at 7:30.
And it's crazy. It's crazy how it happens like that, right? They've been on that flat forever. And I know they have, but I just haven't seen them there. But I don't know, you just keep on strumming. But, my mind is honestly, yeah, I want to get in there and hunt, right? And I know that them deer around there, but they're starting to get hardhorn, starting to see those pictures. Things are starting to change around that
Seems
area.
Early, but I've seen a lot of pictures lately of some hardhorn bucks.
Well, weather variation, things have been a little bit weird. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like it's definitely a little bit. I don't know. They eat good. The acorns are on the ground. That's another thing. I mean, it's like walking on marbles in some of these spots, and I don't know. But I mean, like this spot was set up for the end of October, November. Like it's really set up for that. So like to see him there is great.
Traditional acorn drop.
Yeah, exactly. So, but my mind is like, dude, my mind is actually tuning into like those spots that I've scouted for early season, like going and shooting does. Like I'm trying to fill the freezer, bro. Like I, I don't really care. Like I want to get in there and shoot them, and you know, I'm hoping to kill one opening day. I mean, that's my goal.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying
Dude,
to
I
kill.
went into a new. I did 11 miles last weekend. I put in some shed season miles. Just
Wow.
doing some. I usually don't summer scout that much, but everyone talks about it, and I'm like, I got endless amounts of public. Let's go explore something. And it wasn't until day 2 because I pulled the plug. I did like it wasn't quite 6.5 miles yet. It was like 5, and I was so far from the truck. I'm like, I got to turn around. Like I got to start heading back because if I get too deep, like this is gonna get out of control.
Mm-hmm.
So I came in from the other side Sunday to kind of pick up where I left off. Dude, I found a spot, and I don't know what's there. It might not pan out, but it has everything anybody on any podcast talks about. Like you have an expert on, it's got all the talking points. It's got, it's the leeward side of a hill. It's got the morning thermal rise in the front. It's a point. It's got thick bedding cover. It's got a scrape with a good licking branch. Like it's like, oh my God, it has everything.
It checks all the boxes.
boxes. And I had a $29.99 Walmart special Tasco camera, brand new, right out of the box. Threw it up, got out of there. It's deep. It's a long walk from any access point. And it not being a cell cam has got me fired up. Like I can only imagine what's on and there might not be anything on the camera. I don't know. But not knowing is like, I'm just dreaming there's a giant in there.
So what is your goal? Are you going to get back in there early and like check that thing, or are you just going to let it sit for a year?
Honestly, believe it or not, aside from what I just said, I'm thinking about walking back in there this weekend and swapping it out for I don't have any more cells, but I might pick up a cell and drop a cell in there just because it's so deep.
Right.
I don't have to make the walk for nothing.
Right.
I can just throw a cell in there. If something pops and I know there's something worth, dude, I'm not walking that far.
But then your anticipation for that spot is like tremendous, right? Like you're,
Tremendous.
and the thing is that you're not. I don't know. I see. I'm an instant gratification kind of guy, dude. Like I'd rather have 200 cell cameras, no non-cells, just to know what's going on. Like it would kill me to not be able to check a camera. Like even if I have a non-cell, I have a cell somewhere in the vicinity of that camera.
I just ran out of cells, and the whole point of that Tasco was I was just going to throw it in the backpack while I was doing the scouting mission. And if I just found an interesting spot,
just leave it for the year.
I let a couple last year soak on public the entire year. Never hunted the area, never went back, dropped a camera some earlier August, like August 9th or something.
I'm pretty sure that I have 2 or 3 still soaking from 2 or 3 years ago.
I'm almost positive you do. But no, I had a couple cameras, like I'm talking cheap wild game innovation, just junk. And I just left them on public. Didn't even pull them till January and gathered all that intel. That was my plan.
Right.
With that Tasco. And then I got into that, and I'm like, this spot is too good to just let it soak for the year. Like this is huntable this year. So, yeah, I think I'm going to go back in there one more time this weekend. Drop a cell and get out of there.
I do have a cell somewhere. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I definitely have a cell somewhere that I probably should go into and see what's going on for early season because it's corn this year. I might want to go check that out.
A cell or a non-cell?
Well, right now it's a non-nothing. It's a non-working anything. It's useless, but it's in a tree.
Yeah.
And it's religiously throughout the past couple of years. Huh?
It's a trespasser deterror.
I guess. I mean, it doesn't really matter. The problem is that property. I've kind of taken my mind off that property. It's because there's so many quad and dirt bike riders there, man. Like it's one of my only pieces of
Mm,
private, and they just ride
mm.
so many quads and dirt
Oh,
bikes through there, dude. And it's kind of discouraging. They're not in there in October, November, but still, it's just discouraging because it doesn't like
yeah.
you really need to
That
get off the beaten path.
yeah, that's another thing about that spot I'm raving about that checks all the boxes. The point where the bedding would be
Mm-hmm.
overlooks the main access road. You reminded me because it's public. There's dirt bikes and four wheelers ripping
Yeah.
down there all the time. But like, if there is a buck in this area, which I see no reason why there's not, he's up on the hill looking down at that road, just watching them rip by like 100 yards or so. Wind at his back, thermal rising in his face.
Mm-hmm.
Just it just sets up
Just
so perfect.
dirty. Just absolutely dirty. Have
So
you go
who
ahead?
knows what he is, right?
Yeah. Have you had the chance to kind of mess around with any of the new gear?
Oh yeah, dude.
Good.
I don't wait.
Good. I don't want to talk about it right now. I
No,
just wanted to know,
I got new gear that you don't even know about yet, dude.
what is it?
I got new stuff that you don't even know I got yet.
What's that?
Well, we'll get into it in a little bit. They Latitude revamped their knee pads too.
Oh, yes, I did see the new knee pad. See, the thing is,
I
all right,
they,
I'm
they tweeted
torn on
it.
the knee pad thing. Like, I used to wear knee pads, and then I didn't, but it's another thing to carry in. Like, I don't know the way the so one of the things that I do when I'm saddle hunting, anyways, is my backpack is normally in front of me, so I use
Mm,
my backpack as something to kneel
mm,
against. So
I can't
like,
do it.
and like all
Then
my gears right there. I don't know, man.
I'll
It's
crush on
just
my little dubbies if I use my backpack as a knee
yeah.
pad.
I know, but the difference is that like you and Seth carry 3 times more things than I carry into the woods. Like I am not prepared. Like knife, camera, that's
I
it. I don't
I don't
care
even
about
take
anything
a knife.
else. Huh?
I have a pocket knife that I carry every day of my life, but my knife is in the truck. My kill
Really?
kit's in the truck. I don't take a knife to the tree.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't really
I
carry
take
much in my
I take a
backpack, to
lot
be
less
honest.
than you think.
I don't really carry anything in my backpack. Just the stuff that I
But
need.
I did do the same thing though. I was a no knee pad guy, then I got knee pads, and then same thing. I was like on the fence, and then when I stopped using them, there was even like a few like if it's an all day sit, like in November rut sit, definitely knee pads. There's a couple like evening sits last year where I'm like, I don't need them. I'll just leave them at home. It's only a 3.5 hour evening sit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I like go to sit down, and I was like, oh, and all my knee pads. Damn. Like I when you don't have them, I realize I miss them.
I get it.
So
I understand. I
I just
mean,
got the new ones, and they are
they are.
double. They are double tough.
That's crazy. Well, speaking of, let's break through the sponsors, and we are actually, you guys are here because Kevin is from Latitude is here. So, and we'll get into all the gear guru stuff. They got some really good stuff this year. We're gonna break down some good stuff. The saddles are phenomenal. If you guys didn't get a chance, go on over our YouTube page. We are gonna drop a new review video here shortly on the Ranger 22. So you guys can go and check that. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. We did unbox the Lonestar and the Maverick. Hopefully we'll get into more in depth with that. We'll have a bunch of cool stuff once we get some time, and we're in the tree and stuff and hunting. Then we'll have a little bit more time. But Bowtech refused to fall. If you guys haven't already, go and shoot a Bowtech at your local shop. We're getting down to the wire. If you guys are getting a new bow, you probably should already have shot a bow. But if you haven't, get on down there. Shoot every bow in the shop, but make sure to pick up a Bowtech at least once to just try it. Also, huntworthgear.com. If you guys haven't checked it out, the new Verdict is out. You have another 24 hours to get in on the sale, the end of the summer sale. You guys don't want to miss out on that, and kind of load up on
330
gear. What is it?
promo code
Pre-30.
pre 30.
Um, And yeah, so check that stuff out. Some really good stuff. Your early season Durhams, all that good stuff. Don't miss out on that. Nor'easter Game Calls. If you guys haven't gotten over there and get your grunt tube, that is a doe bleat to a roar. So check that out. Nor'eastergamecalls.com. Latitude Outdoors, guys. If you haven't gone over to the website, we are fully stocked with everything right now. They got the bow hangers, they got the Lonestars, they got the Mavericks, you name it, the knee pads, a ton of great things over there at latitudeoutdoors.com. And make sure to use the promo code Outdoor Drive. You will save some on that. I think the Mavericks, what, 169 on that one?
Old dude. For that.
Dude, for what it is, I don't. You know, it's crazy, and it's the lightest saddle on the market for you minimalist. That is the saddle for you. If you're not picking up a Maverick, you are a fool, fool. That thing is just as good as the Lone Star, in my opinion. It is rock solid when it comes to a saddle. The Lone Star in itself has its own features. That is just a UFO from another country, but that is so make sure you go and check out latitudeoutdoors.com. Last but not least, Fourth Arrow camera arms. So we will be using Fourth Arrow camera arms this year. Some really good stuff. We'll actually hopefully be dropping some reviews. I have not unboxed mine yet, so I'll probably do an unboxing. So, but like I said, make sure to hit up the YouTube. Make sure, the other thing I'll ask, if you guys don't mind just giving us a 5-star review on wherever platform that you're listening to, that greatly appreciate it. And always, stay right here. And we'll get Kevin Leach on, dude. Unless Stevie's got anything crazy. You got like what rattles your antlers or anything?
I do, but it's long-winded. I think
All right.
I'll save it for another weekend.
For another weekend. All right.
Yeah.
We are going to bring back some really cool stuff. We've got some really cool things coming on for the podcast. We got a little bit of feedback, and we are excited. So let's get Kevin Leach on. And
is he in the green room?
He is in the green. They're always in the green room, Stevie. Everybody's in the green room. So let's get him on.
Outdoor Drive Podcast.
Welcome back to the Outdoor Drive. Speaking of platforms, welcome back to the Outdoor Drive Podcast. We have Kevin on from Latitude Outdoors. Hey, Kev, how are you, man?
Doing great, guys. Thanks for having me on. How are you?
Good. It's been a long time since we've had you on. I want to think back to like the double digits. I don't even know. Like it's been a quite minute.
I think it's been 2 years. I didn't make it on last year. I don't know if it was Jake or Alex you had on there, but I was busy with something last year. Last year was a pretty hectic year. So, but yeah, I'm glad to be back. Love chatting with you guys.
Yeah. Well, why don't we kick it off, man? We'll put it right into high gear here. Kick it right into 4-wheel drive. Why don't you tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Kevin Leach. I'm one of the co-founders of Latitude Outdoors. My role on the team, title-wise, I'm like the president CEO, if you want to. I hate titles, but I guess that's what's on my business card. But really, my focus on the team, a lot of it is on product and operations within the business and across the team now. So, the other two partners are Alex Chop and Jake Metallic. We're really good friends from college. Those two guys have been good friends since middle school. We're all originally from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Met in college. Jake and I actually played football at the University of Michigan. So we originally linked up and actually through his dad, who did a knee surgery back in high school. And then we got linked up in college and just had similar interests, hunting and fishing, outside of athletics and school, and just became very good friends that way. And over the years after college, we were always tinkering with gear, and we started tinkering with the saddle stuff because we've always been public land mobile hunters here in Michigan. Like to think of ourselves as pretty hardcore, but that's probably just because we're from Michigan. Everybody in Michigan wants to say that if they hunt public land. But we do enjoy it. We love moving around and going hard and trying new things and really just exploring new places and new areas. So, but we've always been gear tinkerers. We started building our own equipment with this saddle hunting type system quite a few years ago now at this point, and eventually, just developed a product that we decided we want to kind of put some money into and share with some other people and see if they enjoyed it as well. And that's really how Latitude Outdoors started. It was just three guys that are the customer ultimately, and are also very passionate about building, great products that solve a need and have, good durability, really high quality. So that's me.
So it's kind of crazy, and we talk about this all the time, me and Steve, like, off air, when we're in the green room. But, like, the thing is, we talk about how, when you get a product, right? You get a product from, say the Method 2, right? And you get the Method 2 and you're like, oh, this thing's rock solid. It's got this, it's got that, it's perfect, this, that, and the other thing. And then the next year comes, something else comes out, like the whole Maverick. And you're like, what in the world? It like fixed all of the problems that you've had with everything, saddle related, right? And you're like, and we talk about it and we're like, they're just good hardcore dudes, and that's where it's coming from. It's coming from the heart because they actually hunt just as much as everybody else does, and they know what's right or wrong when it comes to a product. And it's incredible, honestly, to see all the fixes get fixed from year to year.
Well, we really appreciate that feedback. That's exactly what we are always striving for. I mean, like I said, we are the customer. We're always thinking about this stuff because it's who we are as people and what we do and what we enjoy, and it's our biggest passion. And we've just been fortunate enough to kind of turn it into our career at this point, and be able to do it every day and think about it every day, which is a unique life transition in and of itself to go through. Especially when you're starting young families like Alex and I have. We both have girls, 2 girls under the age of 3. So you can imagine that, along with starting a company and building that, and what's occurred here in the saddle hunting and mobile hunting community, the growth that's happened over the last 5, 6, 7 years. It's been incredible. But really appreciate your feedback on that. That's exactly what we're going for,
Yeah.
right? Is always improving, always chasing perfection. It's damn near impossible to get there, but we can certainly chase it. We're not ever gonna, build product to, I think there's companies that operate kind of on a spreadsheet, right? They're looking to build something at a certain price, sell it at another price, and, they'll market it in a certain way to move it, right? And meet numbers. And while you have to exist and survive as a business, that's important. But number one is building great experiences for the customer of the product and of the brand. So that's what we strive for.
You said it perfectly. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say it like that. You are the customer, and you started that way, but still to this day, you guys are still your own customer because all the product that you design and manufacture, you're using it all fall. So you're running your own product through the ringer. So when you go back to the drawing board, quote unquote, what the last model did or something you can tweak to just make it better because you used it all fall.
Yeah, absolutely. One of our rules in our product development process is, we'll never sell something that we wouldn't use ourselves. And that's been like that since day one, when it was just, Alex, Jake, and myself doing this and trying to figure out how to get started. And now we've got a larger team, and we've got more input and people building new product. And so, that's still very true. Now there are different preferences and styles and ways of doing things. So sometimes, like myself, I might have a certain preference for how a pack works or a saddle or whatever it is. But you still have to be able to put yourself in the shoes of maybe someone that just has a slightly different preference and say, hey, if I'm that person, would I use this? And you put it through its paces. And we do that with everything. So if we won't, if we don't want to use it, or there's something wrong about it that, would impact our experience out in the woods in a negative way, we're not going to release that product until that's either fixed or we redesign to make it work how we're wanting it to work. So
That's just saddle hunting as a whole, though, right? Like everybody has their own preference as to how they pack their gear, how they put their dump pouches, how they get up a tree. And me and Trev talk about we
Yeah.
do stuff different all the time. And I don't know how you put your sticks on your pack like that. I have to have them like that. And neither one of us are wrong, right? I find my way, he finds his way. And for you guys to design product that works for everybody that's key, you know. It's got to be versatile.
Versatility is foundational to being a mobile hunter.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to, I have a big belief that whatever your goals are in the woods, whatever you're trying to achieve out there, whether it's just go shoot a big buck, mature buck, an older deer, or just go out and hammer on some does, whatever you think is fun and is your goals. Everyone's got a specific style and unique set of skills, and you kind of learn over time, as you do this more and more, what works best for you, and your gear should enhance that and be a tool to enable that, not detract from it. So, like myself, I have an athletic background, so one of the advantages I have when I approach a piece of public land is, I can go in really deep, or I can go through waist deep water that's super nasty in a swamp that some other guy might avoid. It sucks, but, to me, I try to take advantage of that. Or, I'm a little on the taller side, a little taller than average, so I can get into some wonky trees or get up a little higher in a situation where maybe there's not as much cover. And I'm going to get up really high because I have that ability. So your gear needs to support you in that as you kind of figure out your style and what works well for you to get the job done for whatever that may be, right? That you need to self-define that, and everyone's goals are different. So
It's kind of crazy because like everybody does do everything differently, but like with a company like yours where you started at the bottom of this curve, and now we're at this like apex of mobile hunting, and you've just built that equipment as it goes throughout the years, and people use it in different ways. Like I can imagine like you designing it one way but somebody finding a different way for it, and then I could imagine, or have you ever had those moments where like you're like, oh, I never thought of using something like that in that aspect.
Yeah, I mean, we have those all the time. That's the beauty of having a team, and I think it's critical to have a lot of different viewpoints from people from a lot of different backgrounds when you're working on solving a problem, because that's how you start developing a product. Is you really need to develop empathy and understand how people are using this and how different types of people are using this, whatever type of product it is we're looking at, and really understand their journey map with their experience with that from, maybe it's the moment they leave the house or their truck until they get back to it. What moments along that journey are they engaging with that product, and, what problems are they having with it? A lot of times, we do things on the front end where we just observe people use stuff, and they might have a problem they don't even realize that they're battling with. And they can't articulate that. But that's how you really get that next level of detail. I always think of, I've always had a strong respect for Sitka in certain ways, right? And they're a big company, but I do think foundationally within certain pieces within their whitetail line, they do a really good job of those micro details that can only be uncovered or built in from very thorough testing and feedback loops. They do a nice job where you buy a coat and there's some things, some features on there that they don't even have room to explain on the website. And then all of a sudden you're using the jacket and it's just kind of there and it's ready to go, and it's natural on why that is incorporated, and it makes sense. So, we strive, and iPhone's another great example, or a lot of Apple products. I'm not like one of those Apple, people, so to speak, that's, the holy grail, but they do a nice job. You think about, you give anybody an iPhone, let's say in the early days when they first came out, and everybody kind of just knew how to use it without any instruction. So we strive for that. It's a, kind of a merger of simplicity and sophistication. And it's it's a recipe that there's a little bit of a balancing act there.
Well, it's kind of crazy. Even like like the new Lonestar, you guys had put in. I don't even know what they're called, to be honest with you. I'm the worst with that
Oh,
stuff. The
the
black,
stays.
yeah.
Yep.
The black things for the hip. Like it's crazy that like we used it without it, right? And then put them in and to
Sure.
like actually
Mhm.
see like what they actually do. And it's incredible the difference of it. And it's just one of those details that nobody's ever done before, but it can really save you in the long run over, being in the saddle all the time.
Yeah, and I'm sure we can get into the weeds on the Lone Star
Yeah.
across the board, but that particular feature is, it's the brainchild of Matt Tompkins, who came over from TX5 as a part of that merger at the beginning of the year, and he's very the reason we came together is because we think alike. He's the exact same way in how detail oriented he is in developing a product and testing it, and it's got to be right. It's actually got to work. We're not going to just feature stuff. I hate feature stuffing for the sake of being able to talk about things in a product. Everything has to have a purpose. So you're referring to the hip pinch relief
Yeah.
system
Yeah.
on the Lone Star, which essentially takes the concept of a backpack stay, places it in a very specific spot on the hip regions near the bridge loops on the saddle, and then there's some extra webbing sewn in, and it basically gets rid of that pinch feeling and gets you um, even kind of pressure and pull throughout the entire body of the saddle as you're sitting in it. So gets rid of that pinching feeling a lot of guys struggle with eliminating, especially in longer sits or, hunting long sits multiple days in a row come November. So
That's one of the problems that I have as a bigger dude is hip pinching constantly. Like it's just, you know what I'm saying?
mhm.
Because, and the other thing too is before I was in between an XL and a regular, right? So like I was in that like weird, area. So when I got in the Lone Star, I'll tell you, it was like I was on clouds. I don't even know. It's the weirdest feeling. Like it's truly the weirdest feeling. I've never felt anything like that in my entire life when I sat down in that. And it was kind of funny is going back, we had gotten the Maverick first. So we got in the Maverick and I was like, "Oh my god, this thing is just it's insane. I'm blown away with this saddle. I'm like, I don't know how they can come up with a better saddle. And then you got the Lone Star in here. It's like, OMG, I cannot believe the feeling that you feel. I've never felt or sat in a saddle that felt like that ever in my entire life. Like the comfort is it's mind blowing. It really, honestly, is mind blowing. Unless you've been in it, you'll never understand.
Yeah, yeah, they're both great options, and they have some differences by design to address different styles and different people, and give again different styles, different people, just great experiences out there, um, based off what they're looking for. But yeah, the Lone Star. So this is really the 3.0 version of that product. Matt went through a couple different renditions with TX5, and when he came over, we were working on a couple things, actually with the Maverick. Um, and just from a construction standpoint that helps make it so comfortable, and we incorporated that, worked with Matt on incorporating some of those ideas into the Lone Star, streamlined a few things from a construction standpoint, and boom, it created, I mean, Matt calls it the saddle act for a reason. You can bounce up and down Main Street on that thing all night long, and you're gonna be comfortable.
It's
So
I do I do feel bad for the Maverick a little bit because it is such a nice saddle. And
yeah,
there's some subtle changes with that thing that I wouldn't say it gets overlooked, but he's like kind of Maverick's kind of looking up at his big brother the Lone Star, and it's like, dude, don't overlook that Maverick because that is a damn nice saddle for a very good price too. And like there's just subtle things like having those wider nylon straps or nylon whatever they're, you know what I mean, because most saddles they're a lot narrower, and just being wider it just distributes your weight more, and
mhm.
there's just so much comfort in that thing. It's so lightweight, and then boom, the Lone Star drops. That's like I don't know, I just feel bad for that guy.
Yeah. I mean the Maverick, like you said, so both saddles, just so people kind of understand what we're talking about here, probably the biggest, one of the biggest changes we went to in these single panel designs, that solved that pinch problem for us is we did a lot of testing on, really kind of how much width was needed in those load bearing straps. that go around the perimeter of the body of the harness, to spread out your weight enough to where that pinch just sort of melts away without needing to make adjustments. That was, a big goal on both of those, was really neat, trying to minimize how much adjustment you need to make when you're first using the product to find that comfort level. We wanted to make that really quick and easy to get to. You pretty much don't have to make any adjustments with these things. Maybe move the knots on where your bridge, the rope that comes off your hips that clips to the carabiner on the rope on the tree. Maybe move those knots up and down a little bit just to slightly pitch this thing up or down to fit your shape. But even that is very minimal. So, but so they both have that as that primary load bearing construction. It's a 4-inch wide webbing now, which is at least twice as wide as anything else on the market. And that was kind of where we had the aha moment when we got to that width. There were some things we had to figure out to get that to work on these things and build them so that, this thing holds you correctly and comfortably. But once we figured that out, that was awesome. At that point for the Maverick, because the point of the Maverick is to get that comfort, but also have something that's really lightweight and streamlined. So if you're a guy that prioritizes that, having a compact, lightweight system as a whole, just as much, or maybe even a bit more than comfort, not that you're detracting from comfort with this thing, but just that's a higher priority for you and your system. That's kind of where we left it with the Maverick, right? Bare bones, super comfortable, really lightweight, metal free. And then the cool feature there is that 4-inch webbing. It's got so much structure to it that the bottom strap folds up under itself. So this thing skinnies down to like an 8-inch profile when you're walking in and out of the woods, which is equivalent to our 2-panel method method 2 saddle, that's something people have always loved about that product, is how small it is going in and out when your feet are on the ground or you're climbing the tree. So you get that now in a single panel design, which has traditionally not been the case, but you don't sacrifice comfort to get there. So you kind of get a lot with that, and it's at a great price point, right? $199 for the saddle. It helps guys that are new get into it and get a very quality experience out of the gate. And then the Lonestar, if you took kind of the Maverick as the basic construction, added a little bit of height top to bottom in the size, and then you just stuffed a bunch of additional comfort features into it, that's how you get to the Sadillac, right? So if you are the type of guy that 100% comfort's my number one thing with this, or maybe I'm a little apprehensive because I'm new and I'm worried about how comfortable it's going to be, the Lonestar might be more for you. It's at a little bit higher price point. We make it here in Michigan, so it is made in the USA. So if that's important to you, that's a part of that product. But you get the 4-inch, obviously, but we add that hip pinch release system. As we mentioned, the backpack stays off your hips. There's some additional webbing sewn in so you can even pull. So that's a big deal. That's something that's been tested for, I think, over 4 years at this point. If you go back to when Matt first started using that in the construction of the Lonestar. So that's proven. That thing, that feature works. And then you get some additional what we're calling airflow mesh padding. It's basically some spacer mesh that you would see on like a backpack on the inside of the saddle. So you get kind of that little cushy feel when you sit down into it, which is really nice. It's not hot. Like, so for the warm weather guys that might be concerned that, I hear padding, I might think heat and sweating. It has really good breathability to it, even though you do have that padding like feel to it. It's not real thick, but it's just kind of enough to give you that nice little, it just feels nice. It's like a little massage back there.
Yeah.
But those are kind of, go ahead.
I just thought of this because I never tested it, because I put the hip pinch, what do you call it? Hip pinch
relief.
I put them in and I haven't taken them back out. If I take those out, does the bottom flip up just like the Maverick, or only the Maverick does that?
It will, yeah. So if so the stays that go in to create that hip pinch relief are removable. They actually come in the box. You have to insert them when you get the saddle. If you do remove those, you can fold that up just like the Maverick and reduce the profile. So if you find that you like the additional padding, the little bit larger profile, from a seat size standpoint that the Lonestar provides. Some of the other features, like it's got some big open molly loops and whatnot. If you like all that, but you find yourself plenty comfortable without those stays in there, you can flip that up and shorten up that profile for the walk in and out if you want.
Now, the other thing I noticed, and I don't know if it was by design or I might be making this up, it seems like walking in, it seems like the bridge loops are like farther forward. So when I tighten up that bridge tight to walk in, but my bridge loops come right around the front side, nice and tight, and it's almost like having a double belt where, like with like the Method 2 and the Classic, you had the rope belt. I just feel like the bridge actually helps more the way the bridge loops come around. Is that by design or am I making that up?
That the bridge helps with what specifically?
It's like the bridge loop.
Where the loops are, where
Yeah.
the bridge loops are located.
When I tighten the bridge all the way up to walk in, it's like the bridge loops come around to the front of body more than the old saddles do, and it seems to me like it helps keep it in place, and everything's just nice and tight, low profile, like walking in.
Yeah, we did. I'd say we located them a little bit further forward. It wasn't. I'd say the location of those wasn't a huge change for us. What we did keep was
old saddles
the
do, and
ergonomic
it seems to me like
them. So the loops are oriented in the exact same way as the bridge loops that your bridge comes off of. So basically, it's they're straight up and down on your hips. They're not sticking out at a 90-degree angle off your body. And so basically when you're clipping in with your carabiner, like you're not rotating your hand way around to clip in. You're just your natural position. You can clip in and out really easily. But the unique thing we did change on the bridge loops, and we did it on both saddles, the Maverick and the Lonestar, is the covers on them. We actually switched to the same heavyweight mesh that we use in the construction of the body of the harness. And what we found, and that's not on the bridge loops. So one thing we found is that helps with identification of those in location of those lineman loops in the dark. Obviously, you're probably using a headlamp, but rather than using like a reflective material or a glow in the dark or something, you can literally just feel without even looking down there that you've got the correct loop when you're clipping in. So it's just a little bit of it's one of those finer detail safety features that we incorporated, but we kept the, making sure they're ergonomic. They are positioned very well forward so that you're not reaching back when you're wearing heavier cold weather clothing and trying to find the thing. They're right there in front of you, ready to go. So. Mm-hmm.
No, I cannot believe, like those little the little details to adding the extra mesh to know where it actually is when you're going, like that's huge. That's absolutely huge, especially in the dark, because like, not everybody uses a headlamp. Like I don't hunt with a headlamp. Steve, do you hunt with a headlamp when you're going in?
No, not often.
How about you,
I'll have
Kev?
it on.
Do you?
You guys are sneaky.
I don't. I'll turn it on every once in a while just to get my bearings. If I got a long walk in, make sure I don't miss a turn or something like that. But once I get to the tree, I can pretty much climb with no light.
Yeah.
And something like that, it just sets it aside.
So I mean, that's something that'll help with that.
Yeah.
Or should help with that for you.
For sure.
So do you want to kind of dive into some of the other products that you guys have released here recently? There's like a list of them. I don't know, like you just want to like unveil the red carpet here, because
yeah, happy to. I mean, I literally wrote this down to make sure I don't miss anything. So we've had a lot rolled out so far, and we've got quite a bit more coming as well. We're trying to cram it all in here to a short period of time, and seasons are starting, this next week here, and some already have started in a couple of states.
Why
we're
do
scrambling
companies
to get it all out for everybody?
Why do companies do that? It seems like they wait until like the season's about to start and then drop. Like, especially the tinker guys, like they want to play with everything.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much of that is by design. I can tell you not. A lot of it with us, at least this year, is not by design. So it's just kind of fallen into place that way. We've turned over quite a few different things here in a pretty short period of time.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that, stemming from bringing Matt on board with TX5. So a lot of this has to do with him. But Yeah, I'll rattle through a few of the things. So I'll kind of start earlier in the year. A few things dropped. Some folks may or may not be aware, but we did update our knee pads this year. They look very similar. So that was one that, I think was easy to miss. We kind of just made that inline change pretty early in the year. I think that was late spring or late winter, early spring. So the joint, or if you're not familiar with our knee pads, we kept the articulated design, which is, based off of a military design. So that allows, you to wear these things in and out without them wanting to slip down on you, and they move easily with you. But the two changes we made is we updated the caps. So we feel like we improved the grip on the tree even more. They were already good, but we just upped the ante on that a little bit. But the big change is we doubled the padding on the inside. The previous knee pads worked really well. I'd say after a couple of seasons, they would start to feel a little thin if you put a lot of hours in the tree on them. And so we fixed that. We doubled the padding. We put actually an orthotic insert on the inside of them so that it'll actually go around your kneecap and fit just perfectly. Instead of just slapping an extra layer of flat foam in there, we actually put an orthotic shape in there, something you'd see, at like a physical therapy office. It's what's on the inside of those things.
It's noticeable too. I literally just got a pair in the mail today, the new pair. And the first thing I did is I grabbed my old pair and compared them to the new pair, and it's noticeably thicker on that, like 100%.
Yeah, we didn't have a lot of guys testing those last fall. I was one of them that held on to them, and I didn't really share them a whole lot because they were so nice. They're a pillow on the tree for your knees. So, and I with my athletic background, I've had a lot of knee issues in the past, and those I really enjoy those things.
Well, that's how you said you met Alex, because you had to have knee surgery from his dad. So I'd imagine that the knee pads are pretty important to you.
Yeah, well, Jake. Yeah, Jake's dad's a surgeon.
Oh, Jake's dad. Sorry. Yeah.
Yep. I've had a few surgeries from him over the years now at this point, but that's
a
whole another rabbit hole.
Do you personally, do you wear yours in, or do you put them on when you get to the tree, or do you put them on when you get on your platform?
It depends a little bit. I'd say more often than not, I wear them in, and then I wear them up the tree. The times that may change is colder weather days. If I'm packing in a lot of layers, sometimes I'll just strap them to the side of my pack, or put them in the side pocket on the side of my pack, because then I don't have to take them off and put them back on. When I put my layers on, because I usually don't wear any layers in when it's cold. I just have my base layers on, so everything's on my pack. I'm not even my bottoms, so I'm putting bottoms on at the base of the tree when it's colder. So that would be, and it still depends, just kind of how far I'm going in, what the spot is.
Same.
Yep. So we did that early in the year. So if you missed that, and there's also a new color available. We've had our standard gray with the tan caps, and now we've got an all tan color option, and then we will have a couple of camo options coming in those here in the not too distant future as well. So refresh the kneecaps was kind of first on the list for this year. After that, this was there's a couple of products we showed at ATA. You guys actually did a video on it.
Yep.
We appreciate that, but we had the bow hanger. So we had two different bow hanger products. We had our bite bow hanger and our fixed bow hanger. The bite bow hanger people they're absolutely loving that thing. We can't keep them in stock.
They're back in stock right now, today.
They went back in stock today.
Yeah,
so
I ordered
one. I don't
know
how long they're going to last. We got a pretty good chunk of them, and we've got we do have still more coming yet here later this fall. But I think we brought in quite a few, and we were even caught off guard beyond that with how well those have been received. Super appreciative of that, all of our customers. But the bite bow hanger is a bow hanger that can integrate with any public land legal gear strap. It integrates with ours, obviously, but it really works with anybody's on the tree. Yep, there you go. And the goal of that thing, and this was Jake's little pet project last year, was to develop a public land legal bow hanger that integrates with one of these style straps that is as stable as a screw-in and has the strength and durability and length on the arm, because the longer you make something, it gets a little hairy on if it can hold right that far off the tree. so that we had 100% peace of mind putting a $1,500, compound bow rig when, you're all in with your accessories and arrows and sights. And, you don't have to do that with your bow, but there's a lot of guys that do. So you don't want that thing hanging on something that even has, the thought of potentially cracking or breaking and your rig falling out of the tree. So that would be an expensive day.
It happened to me last year.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah, I was using what are they called? Those S-biners.
Okay, the S-biners, yep.
And I snapped the gate off of one end, and the bow went for a ride about 9:30 one November day. Nothing broke. Nothing. I thought for sure.
Oh, thank goodness.
For sure. Came home, shot. I was still dead on, but long ride back home that day, wondering if I was still tuned up. But I don't think I have a problem anymore with the bite.
Well, good. Yeah, I've not heard of a lot of those, but I cringe every time I do. So I didn't know you had that happen. Sorry to hear that, but glad the bow was okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the bite, I mean, it's super stable on the tree. It's got a rotating standoff and it folds up. So it's really thin and compact, and it's pretty lightweight. It's built out of aluminum as well. Most hangers, for whatever reason, it seems like are either built out of plastic or like a really heavy steel and are clunky. So this thing kind of gets rid of all those issues. It's strong, it's lightweight, packs down super small, works with any strap, and it's super solid on the tree. And then lastly, if you're one of those guys that likes to remove your quiver up in the tree and get that off your bow, which I'd say a majority of guys are, not everybody, but a majority of guys are that are whitetail hunters, there's a hook integrated on the bottom of the hanger to hang your quiver. And there's enough space with the arm so that your bow sits far enough off the tree there's enough room right there for your quiver to just kind of, live. And you have quick access to your arrows for a follow-up shot if need be. I've always hated when it comes to taking my quiver off the bow in the tree that because I'm hunting different trees all the time. A lot of times trees I've never been in, where I end up putting my quiver is different every time. And I hate having to figure that out in the dark. So we wanted to have a spot that was always going to be there. So that's not something you're figuring out on the fly. So that's a cool little feature. We also have the fixed bow hanger. If you're a guy that does, likes to minimize how much gear you're needing to set up in the tree and tear down at the end of the hunt as a mobile hunter, the fixed bow hanger is like a J-hook type design that screws into the sight or quiver mount on your bow. So it lives on your bow and it just pops into the loop on a gear strap. Our gear straps have the movable loops, so that just pops into that. It's got just enough gap in the size of that hook, so it works quiver on or quiver off as well. I actually switched to quiver on. That's the hanger that I use personally. So I started doing quiver on last year. We made sure that thing works well with that also. So if you're more of a minimalist, like to minimize setup steps, and you don't mind, a small piece of equipment living on your bow, that's a great option. Some guys just don't like something extra on their bow, so they prefer the bite. But two different options for personal preference there.
Quick question with the bite: do you find most guys leave it on their gear strap, like in their dump pouch, or are you putting your gear strap up and then putting the bite on?
I'd say with those that we had testing it amongst our group last fall, they tended to leave it on the strap, and that's why there's a little bungee cord that I didn't mention. That's a part of the design. So the strap, goes through the slot and it can go on and off with that slot. It's an open slot, but then there's a bungee that goes down over it to secure the hanger onto the strap. So the guys tended to leave it on and then just wrap the strap around it.
Yep, that's what I figured.
Yep. So those have both had a great response. The bite bow hanger in particular, can't keep those things in stock. They are right now though, as this goes live. So go grab one if
they might not be still.
If you need your last bow hanger ever, that's public land legal. Go grab one. So those came out. After those, we another smaller drop. We had our Carbon SS illuminators. So it's a glow in the dark. Well, it's a grip tape that goes on the top of our Carbon SS climbing sticks, and it has glow-in-the-dark topo lines integrated into it. So basically, The main benefit there is it's super easy climbing down in the dark to see the tops of your sticks now. You basically have this illuminated ladder to follow, trail to follow down the tree to get back down safely. And it adds a little bit of grip to the top of the sticks when it's, a rainy day. So those have done great for us. A lot of, I'd say more often than not, someone grabbing the sticks or someone that already has the sticks is picking those up and adding those on. So they're die cut to the specific shape of the top of our sticks. So there's no trimming, cutting, prep. They just peel off and stick on. And there's like a 3M pressure sensitive adhesive on the back, and they're good to go. They're not going to wear off or peel off, during the season on you.
Where I thought
So
that
those have been good.
Oh,
go ahead.
No. Where I thought that those were a game changer was like a lot of times we'll go into a public, like pick a random public just to go in and mobile hunt, and like we'll hunt like say a Friday night, and we'll just leave our sticks up there, and then go back Saturday morning early, and then you can find them right glowing right on the tree. That's what I thought was kind of cool about them, like.
Yeah, I don't do that a lot, but that is one of those like side benefits of that, and it's it's a good glow. It's like a faint glow, plenty to make it easy to see for getting up and down the tree purposes, but it's not like obnoxiously bright where I don't know if a deer is going to care anyways, but there's really nothing for them to pay attention to from that standpoint either. So that if you're worried about that, it's really not a concern. But yeah, those have been good. People are liking to add those to the sticks. It's a cool little DIY addition.
It's just awesome because it's so simple, but you solved, like, I wouldn't say problems, but you captured two things with one product there, right? It's the grip climbing up and down,
Yep.
and then you also got the illumination coming down, because everybody knows you got to watch your footing, coming down after an evening hunt. So it's pretty cool. You grabbed both of those with that product.
Yeah, guys are really liking those. They honestly, they just look they look pretty badass when they're lit up on the tree on the stick too. So they're fun to take pictures of for our marketing guys.
I'll be honest with you. So I made my own before you came out with the product.
Did you? Okay.
Grip tape, and I had to cut them all out with scissors and make them all fit, and I did all my sticks. But then you came out with the ones that are cooler than mine, so I had to get those too and take mine off.
Yeah,
better.
Sorry to make you redo that.
It's right. It's better now.
He solved all the problems. It just all the little things. It's crazy.
Go in the dark.
I told you they solved all the problems year to year. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. So after those, a couple more quick little ones before we get into the bigger stuff that we've already talked about to a certain extent here. But we started carrying. If anybody's familiar with the Deer Hunter podcast, Kevin Vistison, the host over there, this year we partnered with him for his DH3 mock scrape scent system. So we now offer that and carry that on our website. Kevin's had just rave reviews on that product. It's working really well for a lot of guys. So if you're a mock scrape guy and you haven't really kind of found a solution yet that you've that's working for you, that is something that we carry now. And the guys on our team that are using it are having great success with it too. It's so that's why we put it in the store. It's because it's something that we believe in. As I mentioned earlier in the podcast, we're not going to sell something that doesn't work for us, so we wouldn't use ourselves. So we've got that in the storefront now as well. So if you're shopping for our stuff and you need some of that, you can grab it while you're on the site. But
what's in that kit? Is that but can you explain it a little bit?
Yeah, so it's a 2-part kit. So you get 2 bottles in the bag. You get the basically 1 part's for the licking branch, 1 part's for the dirt, right? And I don't do a great job of explaining it, but honestly, the area where I hunt is so damn wet that you can't really there's not a lot of spots to make mock scrapes, but when there is, this stuff does work really well. But basically, it's a synthetic, which is what makes it unique. So it doesn't go bad. It's something that it would keep for years for you. If for some reason you weren't using it up, I don't think that's going to be the case when you use the stuff. It tends to find itself being used pretty quickly after you try it. But basically, the branch catalyst, as Kevin calls it, has some really concentrated odors that attract the deer in, and they start hitting the branch, and they kind of create that. They put all that natural scent on there, so it's meant to bring in the local doe herd, or even subordinate bucks, and make those mature bucks interested. Sometimes they just come in themselves right away as well. It kind of depends on where you locate that mock scrape in relation to where the big guy's bedded, if that's what you're after. But we're seeing. I mean, we have deer all the time come to that stuff within a couple of hours. So if you're just looking to go out and whack a doe, I tell you that stuff. It's like putting a bait pile out. So if baiting's not legal, this is a good way to get something to zip in, and take a peek at what's going on. But then it does seem to create a really good hold and create a pattern on the deer in the area. You've got to put it in a good spot. It's got to be the right type of spot. It's got to be a spot where a deer would put a scrape.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just throw one out anywhere and expect the deer to come from a quarter mile away every day and check it. You got to be in where they're living. But if you're trying to inventory this time of year, especially right before season, around like an acorn flat or something that's relatively adjacent to some bedding, it might just help get that buck off in front of your camera, because it's so easy for, them to walk right around the camera and you never knew they were there. So it's just to help. That's what I use it a lot for, is inventory,
Right.
heading into season.
And it's synthetic, so it's legal in all states too, which is good.
Correct.
A lot of states are starting to crack down on that.
Yeah, that's another part of the legality of that stuff. Baiting and scents. The synthetic is in the clear everywhere that I'm aware of. Don't take my word on that, but
I'm not a DNR specialist, but
yeah, definitely check your rags. But it should be good. It should be good. So yeah, so we started carrying that stuff. That's been great for a lot of guys. One more smaller accessory that we released that, again, similar to the bow hangers, we definitely didn't bring in enough right away on the first batch. We've got more coming. They just went out of stock again, or they just went out of stock. And they sold out on us already. But we're calling them just our saddle cinchers. And what it is it's a small, simple, metal-free and plastic-free way to attach your sticks or your platform, or really anything you want to carry up the tree on your saddle or hang from your saddle up the tree. So it's essentially a loop of Amsteel-like material with a little knot on the end that's got a piece of shrink tube that acts as a stopper knot. And then there's a little custom rubber cinch on there. So you half hinch these things onto your saddle on like a molly loop, or really any loop or piece on your saddle where you can get it around. And then you have an open loop with a rubber cinch, and you can just put something into that loop, pull the cinch down. It's completely silent. It weighs pretty much nothing. It's like half an ounce. So it's something that you can just hitch on your saddle and it lives there. It doesn't make any extra noise, doesn't add any weight. And then you've always got a quick on the fly, spot to hook a climbing stick or a platform to carry it up the tree with you. So those, they're sold in a 2-pack, so you can put one on each hip. It's a simple little thing. It's like $10. You get your 2-pack, and then you've always got a great solution to carry your climbing gear up the tree. So you don't have to go, a lot of guys ask that question, how do I get my stuff up the tree with me? So they're not having to go up and down multiple times. And that's a big deal as a mobile hunter, being efficient. You can save a lot of time with your system, step-by-step wise, how you're going up and down the tree. In particular, how you're going up. So this helps solve that problem for a lot of guys. And does it without any noise, which is a big deal for us. As you can see, we've always had our metal-free rope belt designs on our saddles. So we've this little accessory has that as well. But that covers a lot of the smaller items that we've been releasing over the course of the year. Most recently, obviously, we've talked a lot about the saddles already. So we first launched the Maverick saddle. I think we about covered most of the details on that. That has the rope belt, as I mentioned. It's got the removable leg straps. It's got the adjustable bridge. So that's just that's one of those products where I think there's going to be kind of two people that gravitate towards it. There's maybe three. So anybody who wants to be super lightweight and streamlined and not totally sacrifice comfort to get there They want to still be able to do that all day sit routinely. This is going to be for that person. And then I really think people that are new to it, it's super easy to use. You don't have to make a bunch of adjustments to find comfort. And then I think there's going to be a lot of hardcore guys that gravitate towards it who just want simple gear that works, that they can not think about and doesn't get in the way of them getting the job done, because they're thinking about the deer all the time and they don't want to think about their gear. So I think it's going to appeal to kind of those three groups. And then the Lonestar, we've already talked a bunch about that. Also has our removable leg straps. It comes with the rope belt. And one thing we didn't mention that is unique to that one is that there is a channel built into it, so you can switch to a buckle style belt if that is your preference. It doesn't come with that. It comes stock with the rope belt. So we suggest you try that, because more often than not, people enjoy the rope belt, but you can, for an extra $30, we've got a super nice belt that slides into that channel. It comes with a USA made Raptor buckle. There's no Velcro or anything else on there to make noise, but it's a nice 1.5 inch wide belt, so that you can cinch that thing down nice and tight, and it'll hold a good amount of weight if you like to carry a bunch of accessories on the saddle as you're walking in. So that is something we didn't hit earlier, but is a cool addition with the Lonestar. So you have that flexibility. Those have been the two big ones recently. Do you guys want to hit some stuff that's coming up here right around the corner?
Of course we do.
Oh,
Come
yeah.
on now. What do you? Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So
Easy.
we've started to tease it a little bit. As when the day this drops, this podcast here, I guess that'd be Friday the 30th. We'll have some content coming out, showing and teasing even more our Ranger 22 backpack. So people have been seeing this elusive gray backpack in a lot of our photography for a couple of years, and it's a pack that's rooted. There you go. Trevor's got one there. It's a pack design that's rooted in one of Matt Tompkins' designs over at TX5, and we've run his packs now for a couple of years. We've loved how they've performed. But the Ranger 22 pack is a 22-liter backpack, and it's really got three core things that it does really well. First and foremost, that thing is an all-season, year-round, 12-month out of the year pack. The reason I say that is it's just the right size to do everything really well. You can use that thing, throughout the winter and spring, doing your spring after postseason scouting, setting trail cameras in the summer, getting ready going into season. You can put a ton of them in there, carry all your water. And then, once you get into hunting season, it's not too big early season when you're not carrying in a bunch of layers. But as you work through and get into the colder months, if you're in, area of the country where that's your climate, you can hunt all the way through the coldest temperatures here in the Midwest through late season, and has plenty of capacity to bring in those extra layers to stay warm. It works really well to carry your climbing gear in a couple different orientations. That is sort of, I would say, the versatility of the pack. It's an all-season pack, 12-month out of the year pack, but the versatility in how it carries your climbing gear, it works really well there also. So it has the ability to, if you like to carry like your sticks vertically on your pack with your platform on there as well, it does that great. And then that's kind of two styles. It seems like guys like to carry their sticks vertically with the platform back there as well. And this thing has a compression panel that is removable. So if you want to use that to, compress those items or compress a platform on the back of the bag, that works great for that. It's also got lashing straps that go all the way across. So you kind of got two ways to do that. But you can also, it has lashing straps on the bottom. So if some guys like to run if they're running shorter sticks, horizontal on the bottom of the bag and the platform on the back of the bag in the compression panel. Yeah, there you go. That's actually how I run it.
I'm a horizontal guy,
yeah. Alex runs it vertical.
Yep.
We'll get in an argument for days over that, which is better.
Yeah.
So this bag does both really well, and allows you to kind of tweak the layout a little bit with that panel and how you're accomplishing that.
Go ahead.
One thing I did notice with that panel, because you have the
I know there's people watching too, because you have the lashing straps for like how my platform's got the lashing straps. I have the panel, fairly tight now, but because the platform has its own lashing straps, I'll be able to use this panel to pack layers in independently from the platform itself, because that's like we talked about earlier, packing in layers is a big deal later in the season. And, you can kind of layer your layers. So when you get to the tree, you can pop that panel down, get dressed, and then get to your platform.
Yeah, that's a great call, Steve. That's actually exactly what I do in late season because I'm running my sticks on the bottom of the pack and I'm using there's both horizontal compression straps and a compression panel. I
Right.
can use the straps to put the platform on the back of the bag and then use the panel to put like say a set of bibs or a set of warmer bottoms. I usually put my bottoms in there because I'm putting those on at the base of the tree, and so they're on the outside of the pack. It's quick access. So you can then compress those over top of your platform, which helps quiet everything down too with your climbing gear. But there's a lot of versatility with how you carry that equipment
Right.
in.
I would think I wouldn't put my sticks horizontal, just personal preference. But if somebody were to want to go horizontal with their sticks, it then opens up the bottom straps to roll up your layers, and you could carry those underneath. So either way,
Yeah, I think you mean vertical. If your sticks are vertical, you can put your
clothes
you can put your layers. So you can do it either way, and it's intentionally designed to do that. It seems like most people fall in one of those two camps. If you're still kind of trying to figure out how to do this, those are both great options. You can try both with this pack and see what works best for you and your equipment. But the versatility of this thing, is a big deal. The beyond that, this thing, it's got Molly everywhere. So you can customize the heck out of it if that's your thing. There's a lot of different spots to, put a night eyes gear tie to hook something on or lash something down, or you can make this thing your own. That's by design. I kind of breeze over this with the versatility thing and the all season thing. It does come stock with a belt, a very nice dense foam padded belt, and that the shoulder straps, the belt, and the lumbar pad and the padding on the back of the pack, it's all really dense foam, which as a mobile hunter, you're carrying climbing gear, so you're not carrying 1 pound pack of snacks to your preset, right? You're carrying some gear. Even though the gear's got a lot lighter, you're still carrying some, especially when it gets colder. So the load carrying ability of this thing with that foam, and it also does have 2 aluminum stays in the pack. You can pull those out and bend those to shape to fit your back to add a little bit of additional comfort with how this thing wears on you. And those stays are meant to just transfer the load off your traps or your shoulders and transfer it down to the belt if you're using the belt. Now that belt is also removable. So a lot of times you don't need a belt early season because you're not carrying a lot of layers in. You're just carrying your climbing equipment, maybe a grunt call, your release, and maybe an extra battery or something, right? And that's all you need for early season. So you can skinny things down, pop that belt out. But once it gets colder, you're packing in the layers. You need to be able to transfer that load down to the hips, put that thing back on, and it's going to do that for you. So that was something that in our development phase and working with Matt, and everybody wanted a removable belt. They saw that as a critical piece for this thing being a pack that they would use year round and have it be the best pack it can be at any time in the year.
One of the coolest things that I noticed about it, I thought was pretty cool, is using that same heavy duty gray mesh that you use in the saddles inside some of the pockets.
There is. Yeah, I'd say a pet peeve of mine personally, and I think multiple guys on the team, Matt included, is a lot of the internal pockets in backpacks, they're using like this super thin mesh, and it just seems like whatever you stuff into those things, eventually you poke a hole, poke a hole pretty quick. It seems like I always do. So we use the exact same mesh that we use in the saddles on the interior pockets, which also they hold their shape. So putting stuff in and out of there it's just a better overall experience, more durable long term. And I don't know. We don't like the thin, flimsy
No, right.
mesh, so we got rid of it.
The thing
Yeah,
is,
I thought
But
as soon as I started going through it, as soon as I opened the pocket and you feel that mesh, you're like, that is the exact same mesh
Yeah.
that's on the saddle.
it is. Yep. Coming right off the same roll. But yeah, I mean, the shoulder straps. Last thing I'll mention on the carrying side of things that I forgot. The shoulder straps, a little bit unique. You can adjust um, on the top of them. There's adjusters, so you can adjust where they sit on your shoulders. So, one of the things with shoulder straps on bags is there's really not a one size fits all. Everybody's a different size. They have different size pecs and traps, and that front to back dimension, so to speak, is a little bit different on everybody. So you can adjust these kind of up and down so that they land in the correct spot as they go around your body. So you're not like getting the nipple pinchers if you're a bigger guy, and if you're a smaller guy, you're not swimming in them. So that's a nice little thing to make it your own, right? The customizability aspect and the versatility. But last thing I'll say about the pack is it's just got a great pocket layout, and there's a lot of pockets too, both on the exterior and the interior. So you do get great internal organization with that kind of surrounds that primary large internal compartment that you would likely put layers in. But then there also are a good number of exterior pockets. So if you want quick access items, my favorite little pocket's right on the top of the thing for keys and a license or extra batteries or a charger for my phone. You can get in and out of that thing without having to take your sticks off and your platform off and dig around. The compression panel itself has a couple of pockets. So the layout is it's just one of those things where once you start using it and you put your gear into it, you've just got a lot of really good options to get things where you want them to be for how your system works. And that's the layout is something that is developed through trial and error. And like I said, we've been running these things for multiple years. Matt's been working on developing them for longer than that. So it's that's kind of how you arrive at that. So it's got a great layout for accommodating a bunch of different styles and systems.
that's awesome. So what new products do you have coming out in the near future?
So that one's right around the corner. I think you'll see that one here within a week. In addition to that, we have one additional backpack. So that's the Ranger 22. We've got the Ranger 11,
Okay.
which is a scaled down, smaller version of it. Couple of things that are different about it. It's got a similar layout, but it's smaller. The shoulder straps are scaled back. They're a little thinner. Those can actually tuck away in a compartment on the back panel of the bag.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're like a hang-on tree stand mobile hunter guy and you like running a small bag that you strap to the back of your stand, you can actually hide away those straps, and this will integrate with a tree stand. So it'll be a little bit further down, but we've got a compression strap kit that works with the Ranger 11, and then we've also got, we're calling them our back straps, but it's essentially the old TX5 tree stand suspension system that everybody loved, which is a super high end foam, set of straps and a belt to turn any hang-on tree stand into a frame pack.
Mm-hmm.
Guys that are using, hang-ons like to do that. But between the back straps and this Ranger 11, you can turn that tree stand again into a frame pack and then have the compressibility if you want to pack out meat on the stand or compress layers onto the stand. The bag's great for that, but it's also just a great little scouting bag, or we got guys using them as a dedicated tracking pack. They'll shoot the deer, get their gear out, let it calm down, get their tracking party, and they've got their flashlight and, extra batteries and whatever that they keep in their tracking gear, just dedicated for that. But I use that thing exclusively in the summer for setting cameras. I mean, I could fit like, I don't know. I'm kind of going to brand. I'm not a brand specific guy, but I do have a lot of old Spy Point micros hanging around the house, and you can put like 9 or 10 of those things in this little bag, even though it's so small. And put your mock scrape system in the side pocket, and then you're off to the races. And you got a whole day ahead of you. But it's just a very versatile little bag. We got guys using them for everyday carry for work and play, and cool little bag. So that's coming too, along with the straps that go on the stand, on a stand, I should say. And then lastly, the last big one, which is in the not too distant future as well, is we do have a new saddle platform coming out, and it's called the Profile Platform. If you're familiar with the platforms we've had the last couple of years, we've had the X-Wing and the Rebel in our Speed series. They're both machined aluminum platforms, super lightweight. And if you look at those two designs, the Profile Platform is intended to take the best aspects of the X-Wing and merge it with the best aspects of the Rebel at a little bit better price point. It is a cast aluminum, so the weight is going up just a little bit. But you're going to get one big wow feature as a trade-off to adding just a little bit of weight. It's still it's like 3.4 pounds, so it's not heavy.
I wouldn't expect anything less from you guys.
Yeah, we don't like heavy stuff. So it's not heavy. It's a little heavier. Like, we cringe that it went a little over 3 pounds over here. So, but we got to keep people safe. And but the cool thing about this is that the wow factor is it packs up into a 1.25 inch thick profile. With no like exposed sharp edges sticking out. So this thing can slide right into a bag like a book. So that's a big deal when you're putting your gear onto a bag, right?
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
Platforms are kind of bulky. They stick out. They seem to always be in the way when you're putting your pack together the night before a morning hunt or whatever. So this thing, 1.25 inch. It's pretty slick. That is the wow factor. That's the cool factor on this thing. So you're gaining an extreme amount of packability for that small weight penalty, but the price point's also coming way down from our Speed Series platform. It's almost $100 less than the Rebel and the X-Wing were. But that's the wow factor. Now, the shape, I mentioned it's kind of the best of both worlds of the X-Wing and the Rebel. So if you took the Rebel and you added some concave curves to the side of it and you widen the front of it, that's how you get the profile. It looks kind of like a star, I guess, a rough star-like shape. But what that does is it gives you the agility around the tree from the standpoint of making those 360 shots, or the weak side shot, or just any sort of awkward shot that comes up during the rut when that buck's sprinting in on a hot doe and you got to get a shot off quick. It gives you the agility that the X-Wing is known for, but you get the centralized surface area on the platform that the Rebel gave you, that a lot of guys like. So you can stand up, turn around if you want or need to, and you get that. You get that everything's in the middle, that they're just kind of more used to that. That maybe the X-Wing is a little bit too aggressive from that standpoint for their style and preferences. So the agility of the X-Wing with the comfort and more the surface area of the Rebel. It's the size of the Rebel. Now, in addition to that, before I jump into that, the agility aspect, I'll hit that quick. There's actually 5 separate resting locations as you work around the perimeter shape of this platform. So when you're on the front edge of this thing, it's not a straight edge. It's actually a very subtle V that angles back away from you. And then it's also slightly pitched down and rounded ever so slightly. So instead of your feet resting on, just a sharp corner angled flat edge platform, you now have a surface that perfectly fits the arches on your boots.
Wow.
And you get even pressure left to right on your foot, and then front to back on your foot. So that angle down and slightly roundedness gets the front to back pressure even. That slightly angled back shallow V gets that left to right pressure, perfectly even across your feet. So what that does is you just, any sort of foot fatigue that you might get, let's say on just, a more flat edge type of platform, even our other platforms on a longer hunt or multiple days in a row of all day hunts during the rut. This just gets rid of that foot fatigue. I mean, it's super comfortable. It's like, it's almost, your feet are in boots, but it's almost like putting them into another set of boots when you put them on the front edge of this platform. It just kind of fits perfectly your feet. And that's by design. We tested a bunch of different
I didn't pick
shapes
up
on there.
I didn't pick up on that detail in that crappy leaked photo that was floating around.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there'll be some better photos not too distant future.
Yeah.
So if you're just like resting on the front of the platform, which, I'd say most guys spend a lot of their time there, right? Super, super comfortable, and stable. Now you can work around, there's the corners off the front and the corners off the back to either side. So you got 4 corners. You can stagger your feet off of each of those corners. So you basically get, which creates a total of 5 resting locations. And what allows you to do that really well and in a really stable, comfortable fashion is those concave curved sides.
Yes.
So essentially you're going to have one, if you're off to the side on this platform on either or straddling either corner, you're going to have one foot in that curved surface. And what the curve does is it allows you to counter gravity and your foot just locks in. And what you can do is you can work around this platform very slowly and very under controlled. And you can make smaller movements. So if you got to work let's say you're looking at the tree and you're on that corner closest to the tree to your left, you're all the way to the left. You got a doe group moving through. There's a buck following 30 yards behind, taking his time, dilly-dallying, seeing how each one smells, in the wake behind them. You let those does work through, you can very slowly work around those different foot positions around the platform. Stay behind the tree as he's working past the tree, pop out, take the shot, to your strong side shot, whatever it is, whatever the scenario. But being able to slow and under controlled, have really good agility is what the curves on the sides allow you to do, because they're countering gravity and they're locking in your feet. And they're also really comfortable. Like, what it does is it kind of brings part of your foot up onto the top surface of the platform as well. So you're not sitting on like a sharp edge as you're working off the sides of the platform. But other thing too, last thing I'll say on that is sometimes you get a wonky tree, you set up in the dark, lights come on, deer start moving through on a different trail than what you're anticipating. And you need to change your resting location to be off the side of the platform to stay hidden and prevent getting picked. That happens a lot if you're dropping in blind or you're just, it happens a lot mobile hunting. So being able to rest in multiple locations on the platform is a big deal.
I think even if it's not a wonky tree, especially like an all day sit in the rut, sometimes you just want to go over to the corner and just hang out over there for an hour just to change, sometimes just changes up your view a little bit, or, just a little bit of angle on the tether or whatever. But sometimes like with the Rebel, like I'll hang out on the corner and it's fine. You got like one foot on each side. But as soon as I saw the picture of the new one, I'm like, I could definitely see myself hanging out in that little corner for sure.
Well, you get a big reason why you can do this. You can move around that thing in such a slow, controlled fashion and not feel like you're fighting gravity or fighting anything to do it. Is the curves allow you to get even pressure on both feet,
right,
all the time. Some of the sharper angled shapes, you tend to have a lot of your weight on one foot, and the other foot's kind of loosey goosey. And transferring that weight in the heat of the moment is not a good thing. It distracts you mentally, and it tends to cause more movement, or quicker movement, something that's going to catch the eye of a deer. A lot of their vision is movement based, right? They don't see in as much detail as we do, but they pick up movement better. So being able to move slowly hides that movement.
I would imagine too, without actually ever being on it, wherever you are on the platform, if you need to get around one way or the other, having that circular shape, you always have an angle to push off of. You're not stuck on a flat. You can push off here. If you want to go the other way, you can push off that way and catch that outside or inside corner to give you leverage to move.
Exactly. Yeah, you've always got a corner to work off of, essentially.
Right.
And so you're shifting your weight's more balanced, and then kind of change of direction.
Yeah.
If you have to make a change of direction, it's very, very easy.
Yeah.
So it's if you're to summarize it, it's the baby of the X-Wing and the Rebel. You get great agility, but you get a lot of surface area in the middle of the platform. It's more comfortable, and then that thing packs up into an 1.25 inch profile. So that's why we call it the profile platform. The way it packs and the shape and what the shape provides you up in the tree is that's how we landed on the name. So
that might get me to finally start packing my sticks in vertical, because I won't have a standoff.
Yeah.
Standoff.
It does help with that. It helps with that a lot.
Yeah.
That's been a big deal. I've always been, sticks horizontal on the bottom of the bag guy, but with this, I have been doing that a bit more.
I can see.
And it allows for that. Makes it a lot easier.
Kevin, I'm blown away.
We're excited about that. That's not too far in the future. So
I'm blown away with everything. It's this big, huge stepping stone as you start to go up. It's this pyramid. You come out with a product, then it gets better and better and better and better. Now we're at like this point in this like peak. You're just like, everything is just, I don't even know where you're going to go. You're going to come to the point where you can't even design something new. I don't even know. Like, it's got to be crazy.
There's always going to be new problems to solve. Innovation is, it can be challenging at times, especially, product categories that have existed a long time. And there's a lot of products that already work great. So that is sometimes a challenge. But, when you're thinking about it 24/7, 365, it's your biggest passion. You tend to have more ideas than you have time to work on them. So we got plenty. I'd say we've got a healthy pipeline right now of stuff even beyond what we've talked about that we're working on for the future. But we're really excited. I mean, that we've come out with and still have a lot more stuff coming here in the near future this year. So we're just super appreciative of all the support we've gotten on all of the new gear, and we're getting great feedback across the board on everything. And appreciate you guys, kind of helping us spread the word and show people what we got and kind of help educate on why the gear is built, why it is, and how we like to use it, so people can figure out how they like to use it or plan to use it in their system. And then ultimately we can go out and have a lot of fun, explore some new places, and shoot some stuff.
That's right.
It's here. It's right around the corner.
Right here.
We're jacked up here in the office. Excited to get a little hunting in the not too distant future. So
you guys, thus far, you guys have kind of made it easy for us, because I say all the time, when you guys are coming out with a new product, it's not just another one of those. It's not just Latitude's coming out with a stick. It's no, wait until you see this stick. Yeah. It's like nothing you've ever seen before. And then the Lonestar comes out and it's like, dude, you've never seen anything like this before. And then the platform, you know what I mean? So it's not just you don't just put out another run of the mill like everybody else is doing. You kind of pave your own road, and it's really fun to watch, and it's exciting to think about what's to come.
Well, we really appreciate that comment, Steve. It means a lot. We do try to think outside the box. We pride ourselves on that and try to be a little different and approach how we solve problems a little bit differently. And that kind of just goes back to having a lot of different perspectives and putting that all together and testing and then ultimately producing something that's going to work, going to last, and are going to improve everybody's experience out there in the woods. So that's what we strive for.
All right, Kev, before we get too crazy, listen, we talked all business throughout the whole entire thing. We brought back an old segment. You can be our guinea pig. So, Steve, why don't you hit it for us?
Oh, yes.
Oh, no. Just me?
Yeah. All right, Kev. We want to know, man, what rattles your antlers?
What rattles my antlers?
Yeah. We knocked you off. Yeah.
That seems like a really open-ended question.
Yeah.
Like I could go a million different
It's
directions.
all right. It's all right. We want to know.
Don't feel singled out. He got me with it last week, and I wasn't prepared.
Man, that's a good one. I'm not prepared at all for that.
Nope.
Man. Oh man, I guess I'll give two. One, I guess one may seem like I'm motivated to say it because of the position I'm in, but I'd say, when we get genuine feedback, so we get a bunch of reviews on our products on our website, and I'm telling you right now, this is not a lie. I read every one. That's part of our process with getting better, right? And I can't believe how often this happens. And when it does happen, I'm just absolutely tickled to death, where someone will submit a review and you can tell they took like a lot of time to write it. And there's like 3-4 paragraphs in that review, and they added a picture, and it's like heartfelt. It's got all this, detail, and they're so appreciative of it, whatever it is they've gotten from us and their experience they're having with it. And I don't think that seeing those come across will ever get old for me, personally, and for any of us really here, because it's our DNA that, like, we are the customer. Because that is like the pinnacle of what we're striving for when we build stuff and put it out there for people to spend their hard-earned money on. Frankly, like, if you're spending $1 with us, that's what we want. That's the type of response we want out of people. And for someone to take the time out of their day, like I can count on one hand how many times I've done that. Like, I go back on a website from something I bought and leave a well thought out, multiple paragraph review. And we get quite a few of those. And I'm so appreciative of when people do that. They take the time out of their day. And so that's the mushy answer.
Yep.
But it is how I feel. The not so mushy answer, what riles my antlers? I guess I'll give a hunting answer, obviously. And it's a perfect late October, high pressure, after a storm, cold front morning between October 18th and, let's say, the 28th, that 10-day window. And I know there's just magic in the air. So it's almost, if there's never a guarantee in deer hunting, but there's a guarantee that I'm going to love that morning, and probably witness something really cool. So that is what tickles my antlers.
I love it. You know what, Kev? This is absolutely great, because, to be 100% honest, and this just tells what kind of person you truly are, Kev, and how positive of a person that you are, and no matter what. So what rattles your antlers is like what grinds your gears, right? Like what makes you mad, and you turn it into a positive, and I absolutely love
really?
it. Oh my God. Because you took the positive out of it, not the negative. You took the positive and made a positive out of it, and I think that's even better. I absolutely love it. I love it. Thank you, Kevin, honestly, because that is the greatest answer that we've ever had. Did this over 350 episodes, and you were the first person to ever take a positive out of it and not a negative. Thank you very much, honestly, Kev.
Wow, I'm totally blown away. I can't believe I took that 180 the wrong way.
No, you took it the right way. That's the thing about it. I love it. I think that's awesome.
I guess when I think about it, rattling is when deer are fighting. So
no, I love it. No, you took a positive, man.
Yeah.
I love it. That is the greatest thing ever. And
to me, rattling means we're excited.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about those two things.
I love it, dude. Well, Kev.
Anyways,
one thing though, before you cut them loose here, one product we didn't talk about, and needs to get talked about more. Your guys' YouTube content is second to none. Just putting out incredible stuff. And I encourage anybody that hasn't checked it out to follow you guys along, because, just following you guys along on your journey, there's a ton of good informational stuff and, scouting videos, and the work that D-Rock's doing over there, and the editing is just, it's some of the best stuff out there.
Yeah, I take zero credit for any of that. That's not my area of expertise. The guys on the team do an amazing job. Alex, Corey, Derek, Aaron. It's really those four driving all of that. I end up on camera every once in a while, and that's about my contribution. But yeah, those guys are first class. They're doing an amazing job. If you haven't checked out our Grit Public Land bow hunting series, uh, first season was last year, so if you haven't heard of that, go check it out. I believe there were 7 episodes last year. That was our first attempt at filming ourselves with actual camera guys in the tree with us, doing what we do. And the whole point of that was to just kind of showcase the people behind the brand, behind the product. And it's not meant to showcase, it's not meant to sell product. It's meant to just show who we are and what we do. And yeah, the product's in there from time to time, but you get to see it put through its paces and how it landed on where it is. But yeah, that's 100% those guys. Season 2 for Grit's going to be coming out here pretty soon as well. I'm glad you brought this up, Steve. I'm the product guy, so I didn't think about it.
I mean, I really can't get.
We
enough
watch
of it.
every single one.
Yeah,
a new one's coming out. Yeah.
That's the feedback we got last year. Is like people are like, we want longer episodes and more episodes, and we're like, well, we got to find more time. So
and hurry up with those new saddles too. Like, what do you?
Yeah, I know. It's tough doing both media and product.
Absolutely,
doing it both really well. But those guys are knocking it out of the park. Season 2 is right around the corner. I'm not going to say dates because I think that's a little fluid because of all the new product coming out. Right. But we will be getting season 2 out here for everybody to enjoy as hunting season's kicking in. And I think we're shooting for 10 episodes this year. You're not going to see a ton of Jake and I on there because we were heads down on some product-related things last year, but I think they'll slip us in there a little bit. I did have one cool encounter here in Michigan, but then Alex knocked down a couple of studs. I don't want to give up too much, but
we've seen the pictures.
he put down a couple of good ones out of state here, or out of state last fall. Right. So he was chasing them around for multiple months, one of them actually. So those will be some cool storylines that everybody will get to see, but that's coming as well.
Good. Awesome. Kev, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you one last time, your website, whatever, and don't forget to use the promo code Outdoor Drive. But go ahead and tell them where they can find you.
Yeah, I just searched Latitude Outdoors anywhere. We've got our website at latitudeoutdoors.com, the Facebook, all the social media platforms, Instagram. We've got the YouTube channel. It's all Latitude Outdoors. Will pop right up if you just punch that in. And then, use the code, get you some gear if you need something. Check out all the new stuff that's coming out. And once again, we just really appreciate everybody's support, your guys' support. And we're just excited to get out there and get hunting with everybody. Let's go shoot some deer, and we appreciate it.
No better way to leave it. But thanks everybody for taking the ride right here on the Outdoor Drive.
Friends of NRA is your chance to support our Second Amendment rights and preserve America's hunting traditions. Join Friends of NRA at one of our 600 exciting events nationwide. From games to auctions and exclusive firearms, Friends of NRA events are your chance to support a cause you care about while having a great time with patriots in your community. Whether you're a seasoned shooter, an avid hunter or outdoorsman, or passionate about freedom, there's a place for you within Friends of NRA. Visit friendsofnra.org to find an event near you. Stand up for freedom with the Friends of NRA.